We're back with 15 fast-paced, unputdownable thrillers, so let's get into the recs. Hi, my name's Lacey. I love to read. Thanks for coming to my channel. I love to read multiple genres, but one of my favorite genres is thriller books. And I already made a video similar to this video, actually kind of the same premise, just 15 different books. And here it is if you'd like to watch that one first. But we're back with 15 more books that are so fast-paced, you will be engaged from the start, and whether or not they're the best thriller ever, you're gonna have a good time. So let's get into it. Okay, book number 1, we have When She Returned by Lucinda Berry. I rated this 4.25 stars, and this is 287 pages. So this book is about a woman named Kate who disappeared 11 years ago and then randomly shows up with a baby, and it's suspected that she was kidnapped by a cult. But when she returns, it kind of brings up a lot of things that were hidden, and no one's life is the same after that. I love Lucinda Berry books. I think that you can't go wrong with any of her books. Majority of them are very fast-paced, so you will be hooked. The next book we have is The Push by Ashley Audrain. I rated this 4.25 stars, and it's 303 pages. So this book is about a woman who has a daughter, and she just doesn't connect with her daughter. She feels like something's off, and she doesn't get that motherly feeling. But after she had her son, that feeling grew even stronger, and so it kind of picks up with her life after her son is born and how her feelings about her daughter come to a head. The next book I have is They Never Learn by Lane Fargo. This is one of my favorite thrillers. I rated this 5 stars and it's 342 pages. This is about Scarlett, and Scarlett is a professor, but she also is a vigilante. And so every year she picks the worst man at this college that she works at, and she makes sure he's no longer living. At the same time, a student who's attending the college is seeking revenge on a man who attacked her roommate. And all at the same time, the police are finally picking up the pieces that there are yearly murders at this college. So it's amazing. It's so fast-paced, and I've recommended it to everyone, especially if you like a vigilante. The next book I have is Don't Let Her Stay by Nicholas Sanders. This book was really popular online, and for good reason. I rated it 4.75 stars and it's 283 pages. It is an infuriating one because it's one of those things where you can't tell if the narrator is making things up or noticing things or if it's actually something happening. And basically Joanne has this perfect life. She has an amazing husband, a huge home, and a beautiful baby girl, and it all kind of goes haywire when his 21-year-old daughter shows up. And to make matters worse, that 21-year-old daughter does not like Joanne. So it's good, it's crazy, but I totally understand the irritation a lot of people feel with it. I just thought it was a really fun read. The next book I have is The One by John Mars. John Mars writes really cool dystopian thrillers, and this one is no different. I rated this 4.5 stars and it's 416 pages. This book is about a group of people who took this DNA test to find their perfect match, their soulmate. And soulmates can be deceiving. The next book I have is Appetite for Innocence by none other than Lucinda Berry. I told you I love her books and they're really fast-paced. This book I rated 4.75 stars and it's 358 pages. And this book is about 2 women who escape a kidnapper, and the police are trying to figure out who kidnapped them, but one of the women is hiding things. So take that as you will. This one's a good one. The next book I have to recommend is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This book I rated 4.25 stars and it's 294 pages. And this book is about a couple who wins a weekend getaway, and it happens to be their 10-year anniversary, and they're kind of on the rocks, no pun intended. But there's some things about this vacation that are just not right. Starting with the husband had facial blindness, the wife wrote a letter that she hasn't let him read, and they don't really know why they won this vacation, and all of that comes out the longer they're there. The next book I have is 13 by Steve Kavanaugh. This book is 356 pages and I rated it 4.5 stars. I have recommended this book a lot because it is about a serial killer who is on trial, and that serial killer actually happens to be in the jury. So it is a good one. I definitely recommend. The next book I have is The Other Woman by Sadie Jones. This book, I rated it 4.25 stars and it's 310 pages. This book is about the lengths a mother will go to prevent her son from marrying a woman that she does not approve of. Next book I have is When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. This book I rated 5 stars and it was 352 pages. This book is wild, like thriller plus a lot of action. This book is about a neighborhood in Brooklyn that's getting gentrified, and the residents aren't just leaving, they're disappearing. And so 2 of the neighbors decide to come together and research the history and try to figure out where they're going. And it's crazy. The next book I have is Lie to Me by J.T. Ellison. This book was 416 pages and I rated it 4.5 stars. So this book is about Sutton and Ethan, and their marriage is not what it seems. And that all kind of comes to a head when Sutton disappears and leaves a note for Ethan saying, "Don't find me." However, the police are still looking for her, and who is at the middle of this investigation? Ethan. The next book that I have is The Therapist by B.A. Paris. B.A. Paris is an author that I got into when I got back into reading, and I just find the thrillers to be so interesting and so fast-paced. But I have The Therapist today, and I rated this 4.5 stars, and it's 298 pages. This book is about a woman who starts looking into the therapist who used to live in her house in this very exclusive community, and of course no one wants to talk and no one wants her digging into it. The next book that I have is called Playing Nice by J.P. Delaney. I rated this 4.75 stars and it's 416 pages. So for this book, 2 little boys were switched at birth and they just found this out later in these boys' life. And the families decide to kind of co-parent or work together in a way to not make it so difficult for this transition. But secrets start coming out when the police start investigating what happened that night they were switched. The next book that I have is Still Missing by Chevy Stevens. I rated this 4.5 stars and it's 342 pages. And this book is about a 32-year-old woman who went missing, and she's retelling the story of her abduction, her time in captivity, and her escape in hopes of finding her kidnapper. And then the last book that I have for this video is Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. I rated this 4.75 stars and it's 352 pages. And this book is about 3 women, well, girls. So 2 women went missing and a child went missing, all within a very short period of time, but the only person who comes back is the child. And so while they're trying to figure out what happened to everyone else, they're also trying to figure out what happened to her, and a lot of secrets come out. And those are the 15 fast-paced thrillers that I have to recommend to you today. I hope you enjoyed this video and you can take at least one of these books back to your TBR. And I'd love to know if you've read any of these and what you think of them, but I really appreciate you coming to my channel and watching my video, and I hope that the books that you read bring you joy.